Bartlett Alley, now called Beckett Alley, looks very peaceful in this 19th century photograph. The alley is sunny and bright and almost unoccupied. But at night, that street lamp would reveal a very different reality. A shadowy world of subterranean slavery and sex, of old crones and cheap young concubines. For Bartlett Alley, as this Vice map shows, was ground zero of the Chinese sex trade. 80% of the buildings on this block were houses of prostitution. Chinese prostitution in San Francisco's 19th century was really Chinese slavery. Young women in poverty-stricken southern China were either kidnapped or sold into prostitution. The prostitution was run by Tongs who bribed the authorities to look the other way. For its victims, Chinese prostitution was a death sentence. Few girls survived their 20s, except for those who moved up in the racket and became madams. But one determined woman was about to change everything. Donaldina Cameron, Chinatown's angry angel. In 1895, Donaldina was a young assistant at the Presbyterian Mission House, which was chartered with rescuing Chinese girls and women. One April night, the mission doorkeeper was told that a young Chinese woman was being held against her will in one of the many dens on Bartlett Alley. Donaldina, Margaret Culbertson, the mission's director, and Ah Cheng, a female interpreter, set out immediately to rescue the girl. Down the hill they met two policemen, one equipped with a sledgehammer, the other an axe. Entering Bartlett Alley, they found the brothel, its entrance barricaded, its windows barred. The officers pounded on the door but received no answer. One of the officers summoned reinforcements with his whistle. Two officers pried the grating of a downstairs window, broke the window, and escorted the three women inside, while other officers stood on guard outside. In an inner room they found the imprisoned girl, who pleaded to go with them. The rescuers were then confronted by the house owner, who threatened the girl. The police forced their way out the door and into the street. The party of 5 officers and 3 mission workers surrounded the terrified girl and escorted her through the grumbling crowds to the mission on Sacramento Street. Thus began the career of Donaldina Cameron, who quickly became one of the most beloved and despised people in Chinatown. Donaldina became a master at finding girls who had been hidden under trapdoors and behind false walls. Members of the Fighting Tongs, many of whom were slave owners, did not take the loss of their property lightly. Slaves were valuable property, many fetching prices in the thousands of dollars. The mission home and its inhabitants were under constant legal and physical assault from the slave owners. By 1900, Donaldina became superintendent of the home. The angry Tongs called her Fong Hui, which means foreign devil. The girls she rescued called her Lo Mo, or Old Mother. Donaldina continued to fight for the freedom of Chinese girls and women, and to perform rescues in towns across the country until her retirement in 1934. She is credited with breaking the back of the Chinese slave trade in the U.S. and the rescue and education of nearly 3,000 girls. In 1942, the old mission home at 920 Sacramento Street was renamed Donaldina Cameron House in her honor. its